Movie Talk, everybody. First of all, a couple things. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I hope I get you, sort of educated on some of these movies. Second thing, as you might know, as you watching this video, the shirt. This is from an exploitation film called Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS. Now, Ilsa is played by Diane Thorne. She made about 4 movies, and she plays the same character in each one, but she dies in every one. This was a grindhouse film. If you want to know more about it, just say, hey, Matt, you see Matt Campbell at work, ask him. He got me into it. Very brutal chick, but very good grindhouse film. So I just wanted to put that out there so I didn't offend anybody. So, anyway, today on Movie Talk, we got a couple of things. One, we're going to talk about the movie Phantasm. This thing is pretty awesome. It's written by and directed by Don Carcerelli. Stars Reggie Bannister, Angus Scrimm, Michael Baldwin, and Bill Thornberry. Now, if you guys have not seen this picture, there's about 5 of them. Number 5 is garbage. Stay away from it. But the core story here is basically 2 brothers find out in their local mortuary that a tall man who may or may not be demonic is taking dead bodies and turning them to legions of the undead. The tall man is flanked by killer dwarves, and it's up to these 2 brothers to stop him. Not to mention they have to duck and dodge the infamous flying ball. Now, if you guys have not done your horror homework, it's a pretty cool thing. It's his ball. It's about this big, like a baseball. Has a drill, a blade, all kinds of wicked shit. And it comes out and it kills you. Now, one thing about this film is that it was released, and I don't think they had a sequel in mind for it. But Reggie Bannister decided, who was one of the main characters, and Don Carcerelli decided to extend this thing. Now, Don Carcerelli most recently, before I get back into that, most recently did a film a few years back called John Dies at the End. Basically, same formula, only a different take on it, where 2 brothers find out there's a drug called the soy sauce. Or 2 friends. 2 friends or 2 brothers, I can't remember. And it ends up dealing with aliens, and it's a bunch of crazy stuff. And it is a very strange movie to take. But if you watch it multiple times, you will get it. So, with that being said, John Dies at the End. I have it someplace here. We'll get into that later. John Dies at the End was Don Carcerelli's most recent foray into the genre. He's also done one of the Masters of Horror. And I don't remember which one. Trying to think. Yeah, I see it. Before he did John Dies at the End, pardon me, guys. He did Incident on and Off a Mountain Road. This is a great thing. This first aired on Showtime. And it was on Anchor Bay. This piece of film here is pretty awesome. They're about an hour, give or take. And each one of the main horror directors from our genre has been tapped to do this. Anywhere from Mick Garris, Takashi Miike, who did the infamous Imprint for Showtime, which, if you haven't seen that, never aired on Showtime because Showtime claimed it was too violent. So, yeah, it was pretty interesting. But the funny thing is the tall man from the Phantasm series is in here. They co-star in this grisly shocker, and it's directed by a short story by Joe R. Lansdale. Now, Joe R. Lansdale helped with the creation of Bubba Hotep. Bubba Hotep is another one of Don Carcerelli's incantations, and it basically stars Bruce Campbell as an elder living in a senior citizen home, and he thinks he's Elvis. He has a best friend who thinks he's John F. Kennedy, and that friend is black. I think he's played by Ossie Davis. I'm not really sure. But anyway, they battle a 40,000-year-old mummy. It's one of the most ridiculous piece of films you will ever see, but it is entertaining, and if you're a Bruce Campbell fan, you will love the over-the-top hijinks. And there's a few scenes in there that you just put your head down and you shake your head, but it's great. It's B-movie level, and it's awesome. And to see Bruce Campbell play an elder Elvis is ridiculous, and it's entertaining to say the very least. And I really enjoy the picture on a stupid level. So, this film here is about... the main character is in a car accident. And she's hurt and hunted by a backwood maniac called Moonface. If that sounds familiar, Moonface was the killer that was on... oh, what's that Stephen King movie they said they couldn't be filmed? It was on Netflix. What the heck was it? Gerald's Game. Connection there? Maybe. We don't know. Of course, anything's possible in the horror community. You could crisscross villains, whatever, you know. She's learned how to live. She's been trained to kill, but when trapped in a monstrous killing ground, will she know how to survive? Don Carcerelli's probably finest work. So you can pick this up. You can see it's directed by the director of Phantasm and Bubba Hotep, just like I said. Incident on and off a mountain road. And there's Don Carcerelli right there. You guys can check him out. Very cool guy. I'll give you. That's him, if you ever want to look him up. But now back to the Phantasm series, because they are pretty cool. As I said, this was the launching pad for Don Carcerelli's horror career. It came out in 1977, but this didn't come out until 1988. He enslaves the souls of the damned, the tall man, the villain in this, and he turns them into the army of the undead. Now, this is probably one of the scariest movies of all time because it goes where few films have went before, and it has images and things in it that you've never seen before. This one was put out by Anchor Bay, and it has stuff that was never seen in America, partially because of that, because when some of these films come out, guys, you know, and girls, whenever they come out, the sometimes master prints or the films that have a lot of extras are put out in other countries because of, you know, such things as, you know, here in America there's music rights. Like, that's why the Wonder Years took so long to get on DVD. It was the music rights. You have to clear all that stuff before you get released. You know, you release the DVD. But basically they went back, Anchor Bay went back and basically put this together. Now, prior to making this film and, you know, like I said, Incident on and Off Mountain Road, Don Carcerelli, if you guys are in fantasy, might know him. He directed Mark Singer in a film called The Beastmaster, which is a little interesting tale, and I don't think it garnered the expects. But after that, he went right to this, guys. Or maybe he did this after that. I don't know. But anyway, check it out. Now, Phantasm 2 picks up exactly where this one left off. And Reggie Bannister, or Mike is released out of an I can't even talk, I felt like I was going to say this. Mike is released from a criminal insane institution, mental hospital, if you will, guys. He meets up with Reggie, and at first he thinks that the first film is just, you know, imagination. But he realizes that it's still real. The memory still burns, guys. He joins pals with Reggie, and they try to track down the tall man and destroy him, which is a theme that will continue into the third and fourth entry. Mike has visions, and they lead him to the town where the tall man has been, and anywhere the tall man has been, there has been flying killer balls, dead zombies, just like in the first one. Now this one, the budget was a little bit bigger. The effects are pretty wild. And all in all, it's pretty much a fantastic sequel. Again, written by Don Carcerelli. Stars James Cross, Reggie Bannister, and Angus Scrimm. So, it continues. They actually went to the well, guys, and made this one. Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead. This one pretty much continues the story of number 2 as Reggie and Mike decide they are going to still hunt the tall man. And Jody, Bill Thornberry. Jody comes back in this one. I don't know if he's in the second one. The ultimate force of evil of any match for ball. You know. Oh yeah, that's the other thing about this film. As you can see, there is a theme running around, and you won't catch it until you watch these films twice. That Reggie works for an ice cream truck. And there is a kick-ass car in here. It's a 70s Hemi-Cuda Barracuda. Or Hemi-Cuda. 4-barrel shotgun. That is the trademarks of this thing. And if you guys have not seen that, it's a theme that continues. Now, Reggie operates an ice cream truck, which, you know, later on down the road will come into play. But it may be the key to stopping the tall man. Go figure. Again, mutant dwarves, silver balls flying, and the tall man is back with a vengeance. Basically, every time that Reggie and Mike get close to killing this guy, he comes back meaner and more crazier than ever, guys. Now, again, this film right here left viewers hanging in suspense for a while. Now, again, this one takes place exactly after number 2, so they must have shot them back to back. Now, in number 2 and number 3, there is a deleted scene that was taken out from the North American print. But it's here, and I wish they would have left it in. Because I'm a big proponent. I love whenever you can tell the whole story, not just cut away from it. Behind the scenes, this one was made in 1983. I'm sorry, 1993. I was going to say, because I just remember picking it up at Giant Eagle. My wife, whenever we first met her and we started going out, she rented me all these. She said, go rent some horror films. So I said, okay. So I went and got these. Now, in Phantasm 4, this was the one that was supposed to stop the Phantasm trilogy, or quadrilogy. Again, it says right on the back of the box, right here, I'm reading. Director Don Coscarelli writes with Michael Baldwin, Reggie Bannister, and Bill Thornberry and Angus Scrimm for the final shocking chapter in the most unique series in horror history. I want to tell you guys right now, that's a lie. Because they came back and they made Phantasm 5 Ravager. Which, stop at this one. Because Phantasm 5 Ravager, even though it has Reggie and it has the tall man, it sucks. It sucks on a nuclear level because it made no sense. There was no final confrontation. There was a lot of cool imagery, yes. But the film itself sucked. So if you see it on, watch it for free. I mean, if you like the Phantasm films, watch it, but you will be disappointed. I'm telling you guys, because I really love this franchise. I love this stuff, and there's so much stuff I haven't even got to in this. But do yourself a favor. Just watch 5 if it's on TV. Don't buy it. Don't add it to your horror collection. Because it was poorly made. The computer effects were crap. And I don't know what happened. I think it was a fan fundraiser Kickstarter deal. And when the thing happened, I was all excited. I'm like, yes, they're making another one. Not to be the case. So anyway, let's get back to Phantasm 4. This one's pretty awesome because they transverse the portals of time. They chase the tall man through inner dimensions. Flying spears will be unleashed. Ice cream vendors will reload. And will the ultimate nightmare end where it began? This one, again, was supposed to be the last one. And I think you should stop at this one. The only issue with these movies, and I believe it's this one or number 3, is that Mike's character was turned into half of a Legion of the Living Dead. That left a lot of people ticked off, and I think that's why they did number 5. I think they were going to try to go back in number 6. They were going to have 5 the launching pad, and they were going to go back to number 6 and say, hey, you know what? Mike's not dead. But that didn't happen, guys. The Phantasm series, I would classify it as the first horror action movie because it's not a slasher film. It's not a monster film. It combines elements of, all horror genres as well as Road Warrior type action. And it's pretty sweet. It's a sweet series and started off, like I said, in 1978, and it ran till, I don't even know when this one was released. I'll tell you here in a second, guys. I hate making you guys wait, by the way. I want to say this was put out, I didn't even say. Well, number 4, you guys can IMDb it because apparently there is no year on this thing. So you can check out when it was made. Yeah, no year. But it had to have been a couple years ago. So from 1978 till I would say 93, 94 maybe. I think it came out in like early 90s. So anyway, check those out. Those are 4 good movies, and like I said, skip number 5 because it is garbage. And I don't know what Don Carcerelli was thinking, but it wasn't great. This is John Dies at the End. This is the film I was telling you about earlier. This film is weird, trippy, and you have to watch it a multitude of times. It deals with a drug called the soy sauce, which makes people hallucinate. The next thing you know, there's an alien invasion underway, but it's not your typical, spaceships land type shit. This is more, crap, I don't even know what it is. It's just a really fun, weird film to watch, and the more you watch it, the more you pick up on this thing. It's about soy sauce, which I just told you, a drug that promotes out-of-body experience with each hit. So apparently it's like LSD, only 10 times stronger, right? But some people come back are no longer human. No, you're right, they're aliens. And the interesting thing about this film, before I continue, is Private Parts fans will recognize Paul Giamatti in this. He's in here. Trust me, I know. Suddenly, a silent, otherworldly invasion is underway and mankind needs help. What they get instead is John and David, a pair of college dropouts who can barely hold their own jobs. That's right. And Don Carcerelli does that. And if you look at the Phantasm movies, it's always 2 or 3 people taking on a threat. That was a main theme in his films. This thing has it all, but you have to watch, like I said, everything. Deleted scenes, getting sauce, the making of John Dies at the End, creature corpse. There's a lot of creatures toward the end of this thing, guys. The effects of the soy sauce tells you what's going to happen if you take it. Should be an anti-drug commercial. They should screen that at schools. Casting session. Fangora interview with Paul Giamatti. Told you. Commentary. Writer and director Don Carcerelli. And a couple trailers. Let's see. Stars Chase Williamson, Rob Mays, Paul Giamatti, Clancy Brown. A lot of cool people in here. I can't begin to explain to you this film because if I try, it's going to fly off the rails. You just need to see this for yourself. Now, it's not as recognizable, obviously, as the Phantasm series. This came out, believe it or not, in 2013. Very trippy film. And it's not for everybody. I'm going to tell you right now. You really have to be on board or off board of this film to either like it or hate it. And that's my rap about John Dies at the End. But like I said, give it a try. I mean, what do you got to lose? You know what I mean? Now I want to talk about something. There's a couple films that fly underneath the radar when you talk about slasher films. Most people recognize Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Pet Cemetery, you know, Friday the 13th. But few people realize that when Friday the 13th hit, that made the hell of a horror boom. I mean, everybody and their mother was trying to do slasher films after that thing became big. One of the more interesting and unique twists on this was a film series called Sleepaway Camp. If you haven't watched Sleepaway Camp, you need to check it out. Sleepaway Camp takes the Friday the 13th, environment, takes the environment, puts and gives us a unique set of characters, one of them being Angela. Now, open up my camp counseling bit here. Angela is played in this film by Felicia Rose. Takes place at Camp Arawak, was probably filmed on a moderate budget, but nothing too spectacular. It's directed by Robert Hiltzik, who I don't think ever made another film. But this is a cool mystery. If you haven't seen it, it's about a family who went camping there years and years ago. And they had 2 kids. And there was a horrible boating accident. Now somebody died. They just don't tell you who died. The end of this picture, you will figure out not only who died, but what happened. And all I'm going to say to this is there's a bunch of cool kills. Was released in... Doesn't even know when it was released. Doesn't say. This was considered a body count movie. Where Friday the 13th was considered a slasher movie, this was considered a body count movie. One of the first of its kind. There is a cool scene in here where it's death by bees. I'm not kidding. Bee nest to the face, if you will. It's pretty interesting. It has all your cliche 80s, bad outfits, killer hair, but an ending that will shock you if you're not ready for it. So the question here is, you watch this, compare it with Friday the 13th. I think they're both on equal playing fields as far as slashers go. But they did make 3 of these, but this one is the most memorable because, like I said, you really don't know where it's going. And the girl, Felicia Rose, is awesome in this. And I think the director only gave her like maybe 2 sentences full of stuff to say. So, do yourself a favor. If you like the Friday the 13th franchise and you've never heard of the Sleepaway Camp, check it out. Because I never heard about it. I actually heard about it from some guys I used to work with back in construction. They're like, dude, you like horror? Check out Sleepaway Camp. I was like, Sleepaway Camp, they suck. Well, finally I picked them up, and you know what? Those guys were right. I think in number 2 or 3, there's a death by lawnmower where the killer puts the people under the ground with their heads sticking up, runs them over with the lawnmower. It's that kind of shit that makes it cool, and fun to watch. But watch this one, like I said. It's directed in 1984. And by the way, go to www.sleepawaycampmovies if you're interested in this thing. It's my little pop. My first one ever, guys. We just threw a promotion out there. So, definitely check it out. Nothing else. But yeah, you need to get on board with this. Now, they did make a second one. Might as well go into that too. And the third one. Angela has returned. Angela Baker has returned. Performance by Pam Springsteen, who's pretty cute in that picture, don't you think? I don't know where she's now. She's probably doing horror conventions. She has become a camp counselor at Camp Rolling Hills. It's funny, I think they just took the same location and renamed it, just like they did in the Friday the 13th yonder, where they turned, you know, that Camp Crystal Lake, they kept renaming it. Camp Forest Green in number 5, if you guys remember 6, I'm sorry, 6. But Angela is about to teach bad campers a brutal lesson. So again, this takes the morality road, where if you smoke pot, you're going to die. If you drink, you're going to die. If you have sex in public and you're not supposed to, guess what? You're going to die. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. Renee Estevez. She is the sister of Emilio Estevez, co-star in this outrageous. So she's in here. So she's not only Emilio Estevez's sister, she's Charlie Sheen's sister. So there is some caliber of good acting here. Outrageous, vicious sequel to the original hit, filled with gratuitous violence. Automatic 5-star review. Raise up for that. Rampant mullets. Let's deduct a half-star. Exclusive extras and gore galore. Gore galore will raise it up to another 10 stars. So you're looking at a 15-star horror film here. Slasher film. This one's 79 minutes. And again, I don't know when this thing came out, because Dr. Anchor Bay does not list these things as there is the original tagline, or original poster for it. You guys can check it out. Pretty neat. And I remember seeing this in the video store when I was a kid, and the first thing I thought was, damn, did this woman just kill Jason and Freddy? I mean, what the hell? But check them out. Now let's go to number 3, Teenage Wasteland. Now they did make a number 4, but it never really captured the attention of the first one. But I heard rumblings that they are making a remake. So hopefully with Friday the 13th, like I mentioned last review, off the shelf for a while, we can get some, some stuff going. Now this is another one. Camp Horizon. Same place, new name, guys. Where autumn retreats bring together a group of obnoxious rich kids and thitty sugs for an experiment sharing. Experiment sharing was something they dabbled in the 80s, where they took a kid from the city and put him in the country, and they took a kid from a country and put him in the city. It's in some movies, you can read about it. I don't know if it was a real thing, but if it was, hey, I'm glad everybody got to experience what everybody else liked. Angela is back now. Surprise. She shares a lesson in butchery with axes, trucks, firecrackers, lawnmowers. This is the one I was telling you about, where she lawnmowers somebody. It's pretty slick. Michael Pollard, who played in 1967's Bonnie and Clyde. And Tracy, yes, she's Melanie's sister Griffith. Tracy Griffith, again, making her acting debut, maybe, I don't know. But I haven't heard of her. But apparently she stars in this. So again, this is just another body count movie. This one's 80 minutes. It's a short picture. But it's pretty awesome. Sleepaway Camp Films again. You will find out all you need to know about these. And this was directed by Michael Simpson, whereas Part 2 was directed by Michael Simpson. So then who was the first one directed by? Robert Hiltzik. So we had Michael Simpson helming the second and third installment of Sleepaway Camp. And again, these are films that don't get much recognition, because the minute you say camp, summer camp, horror, people automatically go to Friday the 13th. But I think the Sleepaway Camps are much better caliber, and they don't drag on as long. Not that that's a bad thing in the Friday the 13th community. But what I'm saying is, these are more realistic, I would think. Because 3 years in a row running, as opposed to 20 years, but that's what makes Jason Voorhees an icon, and that's what makes Friday the 13th one of the most beloved horror franchises of all time. So I think we did pretty good, guys. I think we covered the Phantasm trilogy, or quadrilogy. Now we covered the Sleepaway Camp trilogy. So I think, you know what, next weekend, y'all should just go check some stuff out. And by the way, you can find Sleepaway Camp with my man Joe Bob Briggs on Shudder, if you guys got that. Or if you want to watch it You know, there's always Amazon. You guys want to watch it without the commentary. But again, when you watch the first ending of the first movie, it will stay with you way, way, way after the movie's over. So until next time, when you turn on your phones and Google me up, I will catch up with you later. And by the way, man, again, thank you. And you guys can hit that like button if you want. You know, hit that, because I'm trying to just educate people, you know, and just tell them a little bit about movies that I like. Doesn't necessarily mean you got to like them, but if I made any sense in any of these reviews, y'all hit that like button. All right. GW, and I will see you next week.